What's up, everybody? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. It's good to be back after a few days rest and recuperation. So yes, thank you for bearing with me while I had a few days off, but I'm not going to lie to you, I spent most of them sleeping. I got an ungodly amount of sleep, which was absolutely great. Unfortunately, my little dude fractured his arm at the weekend, which wasn't great, but thanks to the guys at Leia Health Care Centres who sorted it really quickly, we went up. So shout out to those guys for the incredible work they do. But look, you know what we're going to talk about tonight. The main topic of conversation will be around Hendo. I'll get to that in a second. We'll also be talking around Nat Phillips, some other summer transfer news and stories as well. But, you know, I just wanted to start off tonight's stream by saying hello to everybody again. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to, just chat for a little minute or two. Then I'm going to swap scenes and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on the whole Jordan Henderson situation. And then we'll come back and we'll see how you guys are feeling about it. Normally I do these a lot more interactively, but I do want to kind of have my say on this situation without a distraction, so bear with me. I'm going to go into a little bit of a spiel now in a minute, but again, just want to say hello to everyone and thank you for those that are coming in. Appreciate you being with us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video as well, ladies and gentlemen, and get over and subscribe to both Craig Station and Anfield Agenda Extra, which are our two other channels. Right. I'm going to switch this up, ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't wish to remove that. So I'm just going to switch it up and I'm going to switch over to this one. So bear with me 1 second. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start off tonight's show by talking about the captain, Jordan Henderson, because I woke up today to the news of something that I didn't think I was going to see. So originally, the news started to come out that maybe Jordan Henderson wasn't going to be offered a new contract by Liverpool Football Club. His current deal runs for another 2 years, but as the day went on and the story began to get more legs and more major journalists started to get behind it, it's not ended up looking like a great day for both us as a football club, for our captain Jordan Henderson, and yet again it looks like an absolute PR gaffe by our owner. So what do we know about it? Well, contract talks seem to have stalled at this moment in time. There's no progression with them. Henderson wants to know that he feels loved and feels wanted at the club. And look, there's a couple of trains of thought on this, but let's start off with where it all came from and how the journalists played it out today. So first of all, David Ornstein came out and said significant uncertainty over Jordan Henderson's Liverpool future. Talks to renew contract, which ends in 2023, began weeks ago and no real progress. Neither side want a Gini Wijnaldum repeat, so it may open the door to the 31-year-old leaving. Then we follow on with Dominic King, who said this situation with Jordan Henderson and Liverpool is complicated. Look, these things always are. But there's a very real prospect he could leave this summer. Atletico Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain are watching the situation and waiting. And then comments attributed to David Maddock of the Mirror said Jordan Henderson will seek a transfer out this summer if it is not clear he is valued by the money men at the football club. Now, here's where I am on this one. Do I, from a footballing perspective, understand that when Jordan Henderson's contract runs out, he'll be 33 years of age and the club may not want to renew that much longer? Part of me gets that. But the part that I don't think any of us understand or will be able to understand is the prospect of Jordan Henderson maybe being sold this summer. It's no surprise to me whatsoever that clubs like Atletico Madrid and PSG are circling around in the hope that maybe Henderson does get moved on, because he is a leader on and off the pitch. People ask me about my stance on Rafael Benitez, and I said sometimes with Rafael Benitez it transcends football for me. The same as with Jordan Henderson. Let's remember the Henderson situation. We were just about to offload this guy to Fulham many moons ago in a swap deal for Clint Dempsey. Hendo dug his heels in and stayed, and look what he has done. He has made himself the Liverpool captain. He has won a Champions League, a Premier League, a Super Cup, a Club World Cup, and most importantly, he has been both the fans' representative on the pitch and also somebody that has galvanised the fan base, the players. Don't forget, it was Jordan Henderson that organised people to speak out from the club about the whole European Super League fiasco with our owners. It was Jordan Henderson that coordinated a load of tweets from other footballers as well. Jordan Henderson is a damn fine leader, and he is somebody that has picked up the captain's armband from Steven Gerrard, which is not an easy thing to do, and has led the club with distinction and with honour, and in a way that I think we all look at and think, yes, that is my captain, proud to have him as Liverpool Football Club captain. So you look at it from a couple of ways. 33 years of age, okay, we know that the club often don't want to give out long deals for people who are gone past 30 years of age, but We've already seen that Gini Wijnaldum has still probably to tell his story on the real reasons behind why he left Liverpool Football Club. It seemed Jurgen Klopp didn't want him to go. It seemed the other players didn't want him to go. And questions are being asked if maybe FSG went above Kloppo on that one and made the decision for him. Now, with Jordan Henderson, if he gets sold this summer, I'm going to go as far as to say we keep talking about last straws. There is no more last straws. If this happens, FSG are basically just going to see a fan revolt. It is absolutely disgusting to think that somebody that has done as much for this football club, for the city and for us as fans could be looking down the barrel of being disrespected by the owners of our football club. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, to me this is disgusting and it's completely unacceptable. If Hendo wanted to run down his deal and leave in 2 years, if they didn't want to give a 33-year-old guy a new contract, that's something we deal with 2 years down the line when we know what his fitness is like, when we know if we slow down a little bit. But the prospect of him maybe leaving this summer, the fact that that's even being talked about is unacceptable. Jordan Henderson should and needs to feel the love. We spoke about Mo Salah recently as well. Why is it that we've always heard that the valuable players, those that have contributed to the success, will be rewarded? There aren't many that have contributed more than El Capitan Jordan Henderson, and to yet again see the lack of respect being shown. Look, we're all football fans. We understand time stands still for no man. We get that. We looked at Jordan Henderson and yes, we see a couple of little niggly issues. But look at James Milner as another example. James Milner's at the football club. He'll be here for another year. What will he be then? 36 years of age or so, 37 when he moves on. And probably will have another year or two somewhere else. So I think many people might understand that maybe the club won't renew his contract in 2 years' time. That's not right in my opinion, but it's less deplorable than the possibility of him going this summer. Now normally with this type of thing you'd say to yourself, look, it's probably an agent putting it out there trying to get a better deal for the player, and normally I would say yes, that's possible, but Hendo's never played that game. Hendo's never really been somebody that's looked to do things that way, nor do I think he'd accept an agent going rogue and putting that type of stuff out there. So if it's looking like the fans are going to be pitched between FSG and Jordan Henderson, there's only going to be one winner. Same as if you put us up against Jurgen Klopp, there's only going to be one winner. We will back Henderson, we will back Klopp, and we will back them unequivocally because they are the boys that have led us to the success that we craved and that we wanted. And as I said, picking up the captain's armband from Stevie G was one of the most difficult tasks that anybody will... we spoke about before about United as an example. Who was going to succeed Sir Alex Ferguson when he went in there? Moyes did it, didn't work out great. Hendo took his time to establish himself and to get the respect that he deserves, and now he is getting that respect from fans far and wide. Every manager he works with sings his praises. I'm baffled, folks. I'm past being angered by it because it is just blatant stupidity at this point. They've already had a massive PR fuck up over the summer with the fiasco around the Super League. Gini Wijnaldum leaving wasn't happy for many of us. There's still uncertainty around what's going on with Mohamed Salah. And then we get the all-reliable line put out again with 2022 is when FSG envisioned the real overhaul of the squad. We're not idiots. We hear this every single year. It's always next year. When 2022 comes around, we all know what will happen. The PR machine will be pulled out in full force again, and there will be excuse number 752 why Liverpool haven't done what we were all led to believe they were going to do. Just come out and be honest and say that you're penny pinching and that you're disrespecting the captain, because he deserves better than this. He deserves better than this. Whether you're one of Jordan Henderson's biggest fans like me or not, to treat the captain of a football club, to have it gone public like this, is not the way Liverpool Football Club have previously or should be ever doing business. You do not air your dirty laundry in public. Everything should be kept behind closed doors, and I think that Jordan Henderson deserves nothing but the utmost of respect for the job he's done as Liverpool captain, for the leadership that he's shown, for the way he's galvanised the team together during difficult times. The man is a legend. And yeah, I think he's on roughly, and again, don't hold me to this, but I think his wages are somewhere in and around 140 grand a week. Now, the good friend Mark Goldbridge over at the United Stand was saying that Juan Mata has been on roughly that wage for almost the entire time he's been at Manchester United. Juan Mata, somebody who for the last few years has been a bit part player at United. Not the captain, not the person who's been out front and centre, not the person who's faced the media, taken on extra responsibilities, brought players together. brought the fans back on board, showed what side they were on when the FSG Super League nonsense came around, stood there and stood up to be counted when we needed somebody on our behalf to stand up and be counted. So to FSG, or to anybody that is on board with the idea of Henderson leaving this summer, you're wrong. And you will prove, look at the win percentage with and without Hendo in the team. We need Hendo. This is not the summer to be adding more instability after a season of instability. We need to galvanise ourselves this summer. We need to get recruits in, but we need to keep the old guard, the level heads, the senior players in the dressing room. Because yes, we've great youngsters coming through. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Queeveen Kelleher, Muzialowski, Cade Gordon. There's some really talented young guys coming through. But for every great youngster, you need that level-headed senior pro at the club, and they don't come much more level-headed than Jordan Henderson. So, to anybody watching, please get behind me on this one. I know that you feel the same way that I do. The idea of selling Jordan Henderson this summer cannot be tolerated and should not be tolerated, because Jordan Henderson is an integral part of everything good about this Liverpool group of players. He's the manager's representative on the pitch, and there is a reason why he's the captain of this club, because he is a goddamn leader. So hopefully this gets resolved. There is every chance it will, but the fact that we're even getting to this point once again shows that they just don't get it. Every time we think that there's not another fuck up coming, they somehow manage to say, hold my beer, we're gonna do it again. Don't do it with the captain. Show him the respect he deserves. It's Jordan Henderson, for Christ's sake. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna switch back over for your guys' take on it now, because it's getting annoying to me that day after day we have this shit coming up. So look, let's get your take on Jordan Henderson, your take on the captain. Put it into the chat and I'm going to see what you guys have to say. I mean, I could have done a far more expletive, far more angry rant there, but what's the point? You know, there's no point in me sitting here and putting out a rant saying F you John Henry and this. It doesn't get anywhere. We need to be more proactive. We need to do what Hendo did. We need to galvanise together and let it be known that this is not what we want, this is not what we're going to accept, just like Liverpool fans have done numerous times in the past. There's no better group of people to come together when needs be. We've seen it during the Super League. We've seen all clubs fans come together to get rid of that nonsense idea. And the idea of Jordan Henderson leaving the football club this summer stinks to high hell to me. So hopefully it gets resolved, but as I said, the fact that it's even gone public, it's not a good look. It's not good enough. It's time to go. We've Caden and Jones, said Matthew, who's clearly deluded, but you know, Matthew, you've every right to your own opinion, mate. You're clearly on a wind up, by the way, but it is what it is, mate. I hate FSG, can't stand them, hate everything about them, said Ginger Ninja. Look, this really hurts me to say this, because I don't like to be critical of anything around Liverpool Football Club. Yes, I'll sit here and say a player had a stinker after a game. Of course, as a fan, that's what we're supposed to do. But, you know, I've generally kept fairly quiet about the ownership. Haven't really gone either way until the European Super League thing, and that was the last straw for me. Seeing Gini Wijnaldum leave the football club was baffling, to say the least. You know, you've got a man there who wanted to stay, a man who probably would have taken a realistic wage from us at the time, a man whose fitness and squad worth has been proven, and a man who the manager didn't want to leave, the coaches didn't want to leave, the other players didn't want to leave, but guess who did want them to leave? The money men. Once again, true colours are being shown. You can put out all the PR bollocks that you want, you can tell as many lies as you want, FSG, but the fact of the matter is, your actions always speak louder than any of your empty words. Hi Craig, love your face. That's brilliant. Thank you for that, Charlie. Hope the family are well. They're good, man. They're good. My little son fell off his bike on Saturday and fractured his right arm, unfortunately. But again, he'd be absolutely sound. It was just a cast needed on it. No operation, no resetting, anything like that. And little man's a trooper. Do you know what I mean? Took it like a champion. Unlike his father, who would have been crying like a whiny little bitch if it happened to me. I'll be honest with you, I would have. It's like a bad dream, said Adam Malloy. Do you know what, Adam? When I woke up today, you know me folks, I'm an afternoon riser. When I woke up today, I looked at my phone, and I'll see a load of WhatsApp messages, but I always look for the ones from Connor, because they're the most important ones to me, because they're usually, you know, important stuff to do with the channel and stuff. So immediately I'm scrolling through WhatsApp, get to Connor's message. First thing I read is about this situation with Jordan Henderson. I'm thinking, Nah, he's on a wind-up. He's got to be on a wind-up. And then I've seen screenshot after screenshot that again Connor sent over to me, showing all the different journalists. James Pearce has mentioned it, David Lynch, David Maddox, so many other journalists have mentioned the story today, and it is like a bad dream. You've absolutely nailed it, mate. It's like a bad dream. And anybody who's saying sell him, firstly, go fuck yourself. That's where I'm going to start with this one. Because you deserve to be told that if you're somebody that says sell him. You're either not a Liverpool fan or you are just somebody who was fond of putting their tongue against some glass, shall we say. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. But yeah, to me, I'm baffled by this. I'm baffled, I'm annoyed. And it's just not good enough. And that's before we get into the transfer talk, and we'll talk about Saul, we'll talk about lots of other stuff as well. But my God, this Henderson stuff's making my blood boil. Hendo will stay, said my nan's got bunions, but still FSG out. Look, the possibility of Henderson staying is definitely a possibility. 100% there's every chance that this can get resolved. Don't think I'm saying that he's on his way out the door. There's every chance it gets resolved, and fingers crossed it does. My point is, the fact that this has gotten to the media once again is not a good look for our football club, because we're going into a new season off the back of a season where we had a whole host of bad luck and bad performances and stuff that went against us, but somehow we scraped our way into the Champions League. Somehow those boys and the manager dug deep and got us in there. And FSG should be counting their lucky stars that the manager and that group of players were able to dig so deep and do what they did. So they got bailed out once again. Then the Wijnaldum stuff happens. And all the PR spin and bullshit just keeps coming out over and over again. I mean, they're already talking about 2022 being the big summer. We hear this every single goddamn year. And I guarantee you right now that if 2022 is the big summer, it's going to be because you sell some of the front three. It's going to be because you offload players. We're not idiots. Stop treating football fans like idiots. The difference between culture in American sports and what you guys in America would call soccer, what we of course call football, it's night and day. You can't apply one set of rules or one way of running a club to, let's say, the Red Sox as an example, and to Liverpool. They're two different cultures. We will not accept the shit that gets thrown at us and say thank you. We're not customers, we're fans. We're not legacy fans, we're fans. They gotta understand this, surely. I'm genuinely baffled at who the hell runs their PR. I'm genuinely baffled that the club are allowing this shit to come out. I mean, Hendo's not going to have wanted this to come out. This isn't a troublemaker we're talking about. This isn't somebody who runs to the media at every opportunity to slag off the club or is represented by an agent who's always talking about moving his players on. We've never heard a peep from Hendo around stuff like this. Hendo is a man that keeps things private. And for it to get to this point, in my eyes, he must feel very, very disrespected. And imagine that, after everything he's done, to feel very, very disrespected. Not by Klopp, because it won't be Klopp. Klopp loves Hendo. Not by the fans, because of course the fans have got Hendo's back. He's our captain. And he is our captain. And there's a reason he's our captain. But once again, the money men, the people that we don't give a fuck about as fans, we don't care about the money side of this. We want to win, and we want to win consistently, and we want those players that your words, by the way, your words, FSG, those who have performed will be rewarded and incentivized for their, well, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but we've always been told incentivized contracts. When you do well, you'll be rewarded. How much better can the lad have done? How much better? It's a massive gamble to get rid of Jordan Henderson, to even entertain it, let alone all the bad PR. I can only imagine now, the lads over there in Austria, Kloppo getting the boys together with Pep Linders for the sessions, and what's going on, what's being spoken about behind the scenes. What is the real feeling in the camp right now? Because they've just seen one of their boys, Gini Wijnaldum, leave. No shortage of offers. Hendo, there'll be no shortage of offers for him either, because others know what we know. He's a leader. He's a driver. He's somebody who pushes people forward, makes people be the best that they can be. It's tough competing with oil owners, but I hate seeing bad business like the Genie and this nonsense. Exactly, base face and space, because we've seen Genie move on, and now we've got to replace Genie. So, alright, fair enough. Genie Wijnaldum isn't Jordan Henderson. I get that, but you're right. We've got to go and replace Gini Wijnaldum now. And nobody can look at Gini and tell me that man hasn't got 4 years left in his legs. Nobody. You know, James Milner, we signed him because we knew damn well as well. Leadership, looks after himself, model professional. always shows up for pre-season, absolutely fit, looks after himself to a T, no problem. Apparently the issue here lies with maybe Hendo slowing down, or it almost seems like they're playing into what Sir Alex Ferguson had said about his gait and the way that he runs, that it may cause issues further along in his career. It's almost like they're subconsciously trying to remind us of that, and I don't know, play games, trying to turn us against their captain. Well, it's not going to fucking happen with me, I can tell you that. Henderson and Klopp are unquestionable in my eyes. They are above all else. Right, what else have we got? Rabadan said, do we know if the leak's from LFC or Hendo's agent? It's a very good point. And look, I don't know. I don't, Rabadan. I don't know where the leak's coming from. But again, if we're looking over past situations with Hendo, he's been very forthright and very upfront about these things himself, whether it be, you know, getting the players together to put out that coordinated post against the Super League, whether it be rallying the England players with Harry Kane to get stuff organised around anti-racism stuff. You know, he's always been somebody that's been a leader at the forefront of these things. So I can't imagine that. I find it very hard to believe that he said to his agent, go on, let's try and get a few more quid out of Liverpool here. I feel that it's either a point where the club are testing the waters to see what the backlash would or wouldn't be like, or he's at a point where he's feeling so disrespected that he's genuinely contemplating the idea of leaving this summer. And you know what, mate, neither of those answers are acceptable to me, and I'm sure aren't acceptable to most people. But it is a fair question, and normally I would say could well be the agent. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we see this season in, season out. Players looking for an improved contract, agent says interest elsewhere, but not Liverpool's captain. It doesn't sit right with me, this one, mate. What have we got? Austin said, I'd take Henderson at Manchester City, but it would be stupid if your owners sell him. I mean, here's one here from Ghost Wolf. Sell Keita, not Hendo. Do you know what, mate? I don't disagree with you on that one, but here's the funny part. Apparently he's going to get offered a new contract now, Keita. Which, unless there's something that we don't know about, he's shown that he's all of a sudden overnight become superhuman. I won't pick up any more knocks. I'm confused by that. Because yeah, there are priorities of players that need to be tied down. Obviously, we'll look at Salah. You know, Mane has 2 years left, I think, as well. They want to get Fabinho. They're close to signing with Alisson. Van Dijk will be sorted out. You know, lots of players that we need to get tied down, and rightly so. But imagine the kick in the nuts for that squad if the captain leaves. The captain, the guy who is the senior pro at the club. Yes, Van Dijk's a leader. Yes, Milner's a leader. Yes, there's lots of leaders at Liverpool Football Club. But Jordan Henderson is the leader amongst leaders. Remember, I'll take you back to a time in 13-14. Jordan Henderson got suspended. Couldn't play the last couple of games of the season. And many of us believe that it was because of him not being there that, you know, we didn't get it that year. But what's important to remember is what he did. When he couldn't play those last few games of the season, he made sure to take on extra media duties, made sure to come out and talk publicly to the press, make sure and did everything he could do to take the pressure off the rest of the boys so that they could go out there and concentrate solely on what needed to be done, or trying to get them to focus on what needed to be done, which was getting the points in the bag. He is an absolute superhuman, and I mean that from a footballing perspective and from a human side. We are talking about different gravy here. So for a club that prides itself on principles and on doing things the right way, it's a fucking shambles that we're looking at this again about our captain. Our captain! Absolutely ridiculous, said Anthony. Hi Craig, sorry to hear about your little man's arm. Shit happens, dude, but you know, as I said, can't thank the staff at Leia Health Clinic enough for how quickly they got the guy in and out. You know, we didn't want him sitting in A&E for hours, so yeah, brilliant. You know, and he's good, which is the main thing. He's got his mother's threshold for pain, not his daddy's. You know me, even the slightest twinge of a headache and I'm reaching for painkillers. Did you see FSG out trending, by the way, Craig? Look, how do I say this? I don't like the owners anymore. They lost me at the Super League stuff. I mean, I'm I'm an emotional dude, I'm reactive, but I'm pragmatic as well. So I understand sometimes better the devil you know. But there's only so many times you can say to yourself, better the devil you know. You know, we don't have the worst owners in the world. They're not siphoning off a load of cash from the club. We're not riddled with debt. You know, you'll hear all the positive spin put out there and the good stuff that they've done, which they have. Nobody's arguing that. I won't sit here and tell you that the new main stand isn't magnificent, the training ground isn't magnificent, getting Klopp in was a masterstroke. Lots of other stuff that they've done have been positive as well. But I think, and I've said this for a while, I think the appointment of Jurgen Klopp has covered over a lot of the cracks and the patches, and that they've been rather fortunate that his magnificence and the coaching staff's magnificence have been able to get this group of players and turn players who were good players into really, really good players. And look, that is the job of a coach, but he hasn't had the lack or the investment that he should have had from the owners. And there's always an excuse. There is always an excuse. COVID, wage bill, agent fees, infrastructure, everything. Always. I am sick of hearing the phrase next year. We used to laugh as Liverpool fans when we'd come out and say, it's going to be our year. This is our year. It's going to be our year. Well, that's basically what we're hearing from FSG every single summer. I remember reading articles, only gone back a few months ago, to say that if generational talents were available, our cloth had been cut accordingly so that we can act in these circumstances. This is the summer. This is the summer where so many players could be available. And I understand the impact of COVID. I get it. I absolutely understand it. But didn't we hear that when you sold 10% of your holdings in all of your clubs and all of your franchises and all of your sports stuff, that some of that money was going to be used to cover the losses that were taken by COVID? You tried to furlough the staff, that was backlash. You apologised. You tried to copyright Liverpool from a footballing trademark, or trademark Liverpool from a footballing perspective. You didn't get that, that was back down. Once and again, you've shown yourselves that you're all talk and no action. Shut the fuck up, FSG, and act. Back the manager, stop going above his head, because something's got to change. We cannot have one Premier League title and then just wait another 30 years. You've said that we have the money to compete or shut up or go away. It is ridiculous at this point. Do you think we might go crap after Klopp leaves due to FSG? You know, I don't think Klopp will allow that to happen. That's the only solace I'd have on all of that, mate. Jurgen Klopp said when he arrived at the football club that he wants to leave the club in a better position when he leaves than when he arrived. And I think he'll do that. And I think he'll do that in spite of the owners. Now, you'll hear all the right stuff publicly from the gaffer. Of course he's not going to speak out against the owners. But at the same time, he will have been pissed off around Gini Wijnaldum's situation. If he wanted him to stay and it was a decision taken out of his hands, he will have been annoyed about it. He will have been absolutely furious to wake up today and see these headlines around his captain, and I'm sure we'll have had a chat with Jordan Henderson, because there's no doubt Kloppo values Henderson. You can see that. He's his go-to man, same way he values Jimmy Milner. Some things you can't just measure in minutes on the pitch. So look at the win percentage with and without Jordan Henderson. It speaks volumes. So whatever you think of him as a player, the dude is top tier. Any manager who's ever worked with speaks nothing but highly of him. But look, we've a few other bits to move on to as well, because I want to talk about this gentleman here, Saul, and the latest on him. So it looks like the whole Barcelona thing, the swap with him and Griezmann, looks like that's on its arse because of fairly obvious clear-cut reasons. But what I'm starting to think now in my head, and I wonder, I'm sure it's crossed your minds out there as well, you know, are we sitting back waiting to see what happens with Saul because we're sitting back to wait and see what happens with Henderson? So we're sitting here as Liverpool fans thinking, could Saul or could Renato Sanchez or whomever be the Genie replacement? So we're making that assumption because one in, one out type, you know, feeling. But are we giving them too much credit? Now I'm sitting back going, hang on, are they waiting to see if they can offload Henderson to Atletico and bring Saul in? Because that still leaves a big Genie-shaped hole there that needs to be filled. And it does need to be filled. So we've already seen that we lack squad depth to challenge across the four competitions each season. We've seen that time and time again. Our first 11 is good enough to compete with anybody. I think most of us will agree with that. But the fall off after that has been huge. So we need a summer where we fill those gaps, not create more gaps. We've seen what happened with not replacing Dejan Lovren. A decision which I have to admit I fully agreed with at the time, because I didn't see the centre-back situation arising that like it did. I didn't see men dropping like flies. Van Dijk and Gomez being out for the entire season almost. So that was me, the idiot fan. That was me not seeing that. Not a director of football, not owners of a football club. So we should be learning those lessons. So none of us have any problem with the idea of Origi or Shaqiri or whomever the manager deems excess or surplus to requirements hopefully being moved on for the benefit of the players, for the benefit of the club, for the benefit of the squad as a whole. Because Jurgen Klopp likes a nice tight group of players. He doesn't like to keep people in that he doesn't think will have a role in the upcoming season. He makes this verbal contract with his players at the start of every summer that said, you buy into me, I buy into you, we're in this together. Hendo swap for Saul, hell no, said Sai. Again, that's just my brain putting that into place. I'm not saying that that's the plan. I'm just thinking from my cynical mind from where we've been with FSG that now is the point where, okay, well maybe we were naive to assume that the links to Saul could be the Wijnaldum replacement. Maybe FSG could be looking to kill two birds with one stone here, bringing a 26-year-old Saul, somebody again who, like Wijnaldum, was bulletproof when it comes to injuries, and I would have no issues with Saul if he did join the football club. I mean, he's a fine midfielder, worked under a good coach in Simeone, you know, tough as they come, well drilled, fit, no problem. But you can't replace two people with one person. You can't, and there's nobody coming through. Like, we're not suddenly going to see a youngster break onto the scene. We know about Curtis Jones. In all of our heads, he's already a first team squad player. So I don't see where the next one of these players is coming from. And Grujic is going to be moved on. I don't know. I want to hand it over to you guys and see how you feel on this before I move on to the Nat Phillips situation and a few other bits and pieces as well. Won't be buying any kits, said Trucci. Loads of FSG outs in the chat. And look, I'm with you. Trust me, I'm with you. If you can give me an owner tomorrow that will come in and not pull a Glazers. See, that's the worry. It's all very well and good, all of us having our opinion that we'd like the owners to move on. I've no problem with anybody wanting that. In fact, that would be my preference myself. But we do have to ask, what are the next owners going to be like? Because the days of Johnny come local, done good, started a big business, got a few quid, always loved the football club, come in to buy it. With the value of Premier League clubs these days, those guys are few and far between. So it's why I absolutely understood the Arsenal fans' frustration when Daniel Ek, Spotify creator, wanted to buy Arsenal, because he, you know, has been an Arsenal fan apparently his entire life. So the days of those type of lads coming in, you know, local home builder goes buys football club, they're gone. Premier League clubs are worth multi-billions now. So it's going to be either an investment capital fund, it's going to be somebody like Dubai Investment Capital, or, you know, a sovereign based fund, or a country basically that comes in and buys it. And the problem that we have with those type of people are the very problem that you could have, let's say, if Abramovich called in all of his debts to Chelsea. Now, Roman Abramovich, to be fair to him, hasn't just used Chelsea as a plaything. He has really wanted to win there and proved it time and time again, and has invested and has taken on debt and lots of other stuff. So, you know, we question when he came in what his motives were, but let's give credit where it's due. Roman Abramovich has stood over his football club and backed the managers, you know. But then you look at other scenarios where there's been clubs like Malaga, Angie Macal, I don't know how to pronounce the rest of it, and a few other clubs around Europe who've had people come in and buy them, bring in loads of players on high money, get bored of them, and then asset strip the club, selling off all the best players, and we see these clubs absolutely fall to the depths of nowhere. So that's the worry for me, is what comes next. Now, if there was good, strong, steady owners willing to come in that would work for the people who know this better than me, the likes of Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, these type of people, fine. But that's my worry. It's just what's next. You know, those kind of it's kind of, sometimes it's better the devil you know, but then again, there's a line that sometimes the devil that you do know gets to that line, and you're thinking maybe the future would be better without you guys, but there still has to be somebody there, if you get where I'm coming from. Craig, can I ask a question? What was the point of giving Adrian a new contract when we're letting Henderson leave? Um, yeah. I mean, it's a fair question. I would say what I would say there is I'm sure that the amount of money is completely nowhere near the same as Hendo's. And Adrian is clearly the club's number 3 keeper now. That Queven Kelleher signed a new deal. He'll be the club's number 2. We have Gianluigi Pillaluga coming through. We did sell Camille Grabara. So the keeper situation. I'd imagine Adrian's wages is a pittance, to be honest with you, but it's still a fair point. I mean, if we're looking at a possibility of not having enough keepers, then send out Camille Grabara on loan again somewhere with a recall clause if needs be, and let Adrian go on. So I get where you're coming from, and it is a fair point. It is still money going out of the club's account. Craig, can you buy Liverpool for us? Mate, you obviously don't know how bad I am with money. I'm terrible. Money burns a hole in my pocket, dude. I'm usually spending money before I even get it. So yeah, you don't want me running a football club, I can tell you that. You alright, Craig? Keep the head up. I'm good, thank you, dude. Yeah, I mean, I had a shitty week last week, but like everything, we all have ups and downs, don't we? So I took a few days off, got loads of rest, feeling a lot better, and feeling ready for what could be a fight. And by fight, I mean, us as fans standing up again, and I'm ready for it. We're ready for it with the Super League. We all came together, and look at the impact that all football fans had on that. Is Keita signing a new contract? Apparently. So there have been reports that Naby Keita is one of the players Liverpool are looking to tie down to a new deal. That's I have to say it's a noodle scratcher for me. Because he hasn't been able to prove his fitness. So I have nothing against Naby from a footballing perspective. In fact, if you could guarantee me a fit Naby Keita, I'd happily have him signing a new deal, because I've seen glimpses of the good stuff as a view, but then we've seen the Real Madrid performance, and we've seen that he can't even go to the end of the season without picking up a knock. Is there a rich oil money man wanting to buy the club? Well, I suppose the actual answer to that is yes. There are people that have let it be known that they would buy Liverpool Football Club. A couple of different people have been mentioned. I mean, there was talk that FSG turned down an offer of 2 billion a while back. Maybe it was even more, I can't remember. If my memory is right, it could have been somebody who was related to a cousin of the guy who owns Manchester City or something. I mean, it was a while ago, so I'm just trying to, scratch around the old head to see what I can remember. But let me move on to this gentleman here. So Nat Phillips, what do we know about Nat Phillips? Look, I've said to you guys all summer that Nat Phillips was available to be sold, and I got some abuse for it from people. And look, I don't pick and choose who gets bought and sold. All I can tell you is what I've read, what I've either been told or haven't been told, and the word all summer has been for both his future and because his value was at an all-time peak. If the right offer comes in, Nat Phillips was willing to be sold. I've said that over and over again. So we know that Brighton are about to, or have pretty much sold Ben White to Arsenal. They've got an agreement reached there, so they need to go and find a new centre-back. And the news goes that apparently they're looking at Nat Phillips for 15 million quid. Now remember, we were willing to sell Nat Phillips for a very, very small amount of money, or loan him out in the January window to a club in the Championship. So for him, and if you look at this just through his eyes right now, the idea of going and working with a coach like Graham Potter, who's an excellent coach, a very forward-thinking coach with really good methods of how he works, and is building a fine squad there, I can see the appeal. For Liverpool, 15 million quid, I can see the appeal. But I still go back to the point of, if we knew that we were going to be selling Nat Phillips, why on earth didn't we buy Ozan Kabak for 8.5 million quid? If nothing else, just to make sure that we were covered. We had enough squad depth, because we've got Ibrahima Kanate, sound, love the lad. Best welcome video we have ever seen made, by the way. Well done to him on that one. We've got Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, who are undoubtedly top-notch defenders, but are coming back from a long-term injury, both of them. So who knows how they come back? Look, the medical staff will of course be doing the checks and will do everything possible to mitigate any risks for the lads, but at the same time might take them a while to get up to speed. Joel Matip, on his day when he's fit and available, top-notch centre-back, great at carrying the ball forwards, very good at picking out long passes, great aerially, loads of good attributes. We all love Joel Matip, but I think it's fair to say he's quite injury prone. And then you're looking at young players. You're looking at Billy Comedio. You're looking at Sepp van den Berg, who's already gone out on loan again. You're looking at Reece. Reece. I was going to say Reece James. Sorry, Reece Williams, who's going to probably go out on loan again as well. Every time I say Reece, I think of Reece James because of the English Euros thing. So again, I'm looking at, okay, if we sell this guy, why aren't we buying Ozan Kabak? Because it's £8.5 million, and you'd still be turning a profit, and you'd probably, for the money you get for Nat Phillips, you'd probably cover Kabak's wages for a couple of years, and then you could probably sell Ozan Kabak on for an almighty profit. So these are the type of situations and scenarios that I just can't get my head around. Sean Dyche would love Phillips. He had actually been linked with Burnley, Anastasia, so it's, yeah, you're right. To some extent, yeah, he probably would. And I think I'm right in saying, I could be wrong on this, but I'm almost certain that Sean Dyche is a Liverpool fan. Not that that would make any difference to his choice of centre-back. I'm just saying, just random thought for the day. I love Nat, but it's time to say goodbye, said Addison. I'm the same. I'm in the camp of very much of, I'm very, very thankful for Nat Phillips. And, you know, without Nat Phillips, I'm almost certain we wouldn't be in the Champions League. You know, he played a vital role in, you know, stabilising our defence and helping us get there. But I also think it is the right time for him to move on. For himself as well. I've often spoke about this. He'll want to put down roots. He'll want to develop himself to as far as he can go, and he'll want to be playing week in and week out, which with all the best of intentions, I don't think Liverpool could offer the guy right now. Whereas I get the feeling with Ozan Kabak, if we had said to him, you're going to be 4th or 5th choice centre-back, mate, you'd be playing domestic cup games, you might get a run out here or there, I think then you'd probably see an Ozan Kabak who wants to play for Liverpool so much that he'd probably take the chance. So look, again, this is just my 2 cents on it all. The problem with Kabak is the homegrown player rule. Yes, that's a fair point, Tom, as well. I think, again, if I'm right, isn't it 17? You can have 17 players that are overseas in your squad, if my memory's correct, in your 26-man squad, 17 or 18, and not including obviously young players who've come through the academy or whatever, or classed as homegrown in another sense of the word. So you do have a fair point there, mate, but then, you know, we're also looking at moving on Divock Origi, perhaps moving on Shaqiri, Grujic, look, who didn't take up a squad place this year, in fairness, because he was on loan at Porto. And then there's Harry Wilson, who again would be classed as homegrown anyway, but again, more money that could be freed up. So that's another thing we do have to take into account, though. You're right, mate. Craig, are you doing a watch along for tomorrow? Yes, I am. Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned that at the start of the stream. So, as you guys know, Liverpool are playing 2 30-minute friendlies tomorrow, with a bit of a break in between, and they are being shown on LFC TV and LFC TV Go, and we will, of course, be doing a watch along of them here. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, and I won't be taking a gap between the 2 games. We'll be just going straight through. Then we'll have a late night agenda coming up tomorrow, as always. I'm going to be recording the One Football Weekly News Roundup tomorrow. That's going to go on Wednesday, because as things are looking right now, I'm going to be in London on Wednesday doing some filming. Can't say what for yet, because it hasn't been filmed yet and it's not my place to do. But as things stand, I'm going to be in London on Wednesday, so I won't be able to stream that day. But I'll be back on Thursday then, and back to late night streaming then. But look, I'm not going anywhere for a few more minutes. We've more stuff to talk through, so let's keep going. As LFC TV is free, so as LFC TV is free with the game. LFC TV isn't free for me anyway. You know, I have $7.99 a month or something to add it on to my Sky bill. So I don't know if in other countries the situation's different, but I can say to you, for me, it's definitely not free. But they do have an offer for, I think it's called Summer 2021 or something like that. If you sign up to LFC TV, you can get 1 month of LFC TV Go free or something like that. There is an offer around there somewhere for people as well. What are we talking about? The games tomorrow, people are saying 5 p.m. Yeah, I believe they are 5 p.m. games tomorrow, aren't they? So either way, I'll be on about 15 minutes before the games get started. Make sure you've got your notifications turned on, and we'll be doing a watch along of both of those 30-minute games. 2 30-minute games with a gap in between the 2 of them. LFC TV is absolutely not free, mate. I've literally just told you I subscribed to it today and had to pay $7.99 to add it to my Sky bill. So unless there's a TV package in the UK that it comes free on that I'm not aware of, fair enough. But for me, I promise you, with my Sky bill today, I had to add it on. It cost something like $7.99 a month. What's your score predictions for tomorrow? How can I possibly give you a score prediction when I haven't got a Scooby-Doo who's going to be playing in either game? It's going to be impossible. But look, it'll be great to just see the lads in the Liverpool kits kicking the ball around again, won't it? It'll really get us mentally prepared for the season that's coming ahead. Craig, you should be our reporter on the Athletic. I don't like James Pearce. I like James Pearce, Elliot. I won't have a word said against them. I understand some people view James Pearce as bad news Pearce. That's what some people call him. But as somebody who has, done shots and videos with James Pearce, I can promise you he is one of the nicest, most upfront people you'd ever have the fortune of coming across. And I also think he's a good journalist as well. I mean, Caoimhe O'Neill and Simon Hughes also write excellent stuff on the Athletic. But no, look, I like James Pearce. I won't ever run the man down. But also, I can't write for shit, mate, so you don't want me putting an article together, trust me. Has Messi just signed a new 5-year deal and ship Mane plus 50 million to PSG for Mbappe? Well, let's start with the Messi part of that question. So, no is the answer. He hasn't signed a new 5-year deal, and the reason he hasn't signed a new 5-year deal isn't because he won't. He most probably will. But with Barcelona's financial situation and the fact that they have like Memphis Depay, Sergio Aguero and a few other players who've signed a contract, but that contract can't be registered with La Liga because Barca have these financial conditions that they need to meet. That means that Lionel Messi and his father, who represents him in a lot of these things, is apparently not going to sign that contract until they know that as soon as they sign it, it can be registered and he's going to be a Barcelona player. Because if they did sign it and everything went tits up, then there could be a bit more of a legal battle ahead of them. So once Barca get their wage bill trimmed down enough, and it is a huge cut, around I think a quarter of what their 2019-2020 one was, that was then roughly half I think for 2020-2021, and then for 2021-2022 it's dramatically down again. So they have to free up a lot of money, and as the contract goes with Messi, he'll take a 50% wage cut. He'll sign on for 5 years. He'll play 2 years in La Liga and then probably go off to the MLS or Newell's Old Boys or somewhere else for the last few years of his career, and Barca will continue to pay him for those 3 years. That's the plan with Messi anyway. But to do that, you're gonna hear the likes of Busquets having to take wage cuts or possibly be moved on. They can't give away Felipe Coutinho. They're trying to get Griezmann out the door. Between Coutinho and Griezmann, I think there's probably about 750, 800 grand a week in euro in wages going out. Don't believe me? Look it up for yourself. I want to see Klopp in a kick and a ball, said Anastasia. I mean, yeah, we'd all love to see. Did you see the interview Peter McDowell did yesterday, by the way? He was talking to camera and just Klopp just start walking back and forth behind him. That's why we love the gaffer. He's got a bit of fun in him as well. Craig, you should invite Fabrizio Romano sometimes in your podcast. I don't have Fabrizio Romano money, mate. So you won't be seeing me paying out money to get Fabrizio Romano on to tell you something that I can tell you without Fabrizio Romano coming on. I've said this before. I have a great admiration for Fabrizio Romano and the little niche that he's built himself around transfers, and I wish him all the best, and I hope that he gets paid as much as he can get paid, and go get your money, fella. Nothing against that, but I'm not going to be giving it. When I can't go full time on my own channel, I'm certainly not going to be paying out for a journalist to come on for a chat with something that I could have just taken off Twitter and read out anyway. So for me, no, not yet, not at that point. I wish, but there's better ways for me to use the little amounts of money that we do have. What else have we got? I do have some great interviews lined up, by the way, for Craig Station, so I can't say who they are yet, but one's a gamer, one is a comedian type, one is a football influencer, and I'm working on a couple of more. So as soon as I get 4 in the bag, we're going to kick off Craig Station, and we're going to put out those 4 interviews over the course of 2 weeks, and it's going to be great fun because I can't wait to talk to a couple of these people. Grujic for 11 million, said base face in space. The thing about Marco Grujic is every day there's a new club linked. So it was Porto at one point, then it was Borussia Mönchengladbach, and now I seen a report somewhere to suggest that Liverpool were offering him, who was it? Let me just get up on Twitter because I know I quote tweeted something. So, in seconds. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through Twitter to see where this one was again. Oh yeah, so there was talk that Marco Grujic was being offered as part exchange in the deal for Daniel Malin, which again is a whole lot of assuming, because one, you've got to look at the human side of the transfer. Does Marco Grujic have any interest in going to play in the Netherlands? I mean, it's all very well and good a journalist coming up with the idea that we use him as a part exchange for Daniel Malin, but there's a couple of problems with that. Grujic probably has his heart set on going elsewhere, and also I'd be fairly confident that Daniel Malin is going to end up at Borussia Dortmund one way or the other because of the relationship they have with Raiola and because of the little merry-go-round that he likes, you know, players in, players out, couple of years here, move on, money elsewhere. So I've always thought that Daniel Malin is going to end up at Dortmund. So as much as I wouldn't have minded him at Liverpool, you know, the Raiola factor is one that worries a lot of us. You could do a fake interview with Dara O'Brien. I've thought about that before, Tom. I won't lie to you, mate. I have. Even on Father's Day, I just jokingly put up a picture of him and said, "Happy birthday, Dad." So yeah, that would be fun. You don't have LFC TV already. No, why do I need LFC TV, mate? Do you think that there's anything on LFC TV that is going to give me a greater insight into the football than watching it myself? No, I didn't have LFC TV, mate, because I didn't see the point in it. So I get where you're coming from, but I mean, what do I need it for? I do my own post-match stuff. I watch the games myself. So the only reason I ever usually get LFC TV is for the pre-season friendlies, and I think a lot of people, if we're being honest, are probably the same. Plus, well, I have other reasons as well, but let's just go with those ones. Craig, you've full control of the club for 1 week. Full control. Who would you sanction the purchases of? Well, you wouldn't get it done in a week, first and foremost. But first thing I do is make sure Hendo's contract is tied down. Second thing I do is have a chat with Jurgen Klopp and see who he actually wants and see if there's any way that the club could go about funding those transfers or how far along we are talking with negotiations on those transfers. Secondly, I would offer a few people a lift to the airport if they so needed to, you know, help them find their new clubs, and then I'd probably run around hugging Jurgen Klopp and running around like a lunatic going, "Oh my god, I'm in charge of Liverpool Football Club, oh my god, let me put myself down for lifetime season tickets." Yeah, that's probably what I do. You getting pre-season LFC TV? Yes, I ordered it today, mate. I have LFC TV now and I'll have it for the summer. It's what I do most summers, to be fair. I just get it for the pre-season. What have we got? If anyone deserves a pay rise, it's Hendo. I agree. I mean, we're going right back full circle here to the start of the stream, but yeah, I absolutely agree. Jordan Henderson absolutely should get a new contract. Let me get Phillips off the screen there for a sec. Yeah, 100%. Now, again, if it was a case that the club are willing to let him run down his deal and leave when he's 33, I'm not saying I agree with that, but at least that's a bit more palatable. But when it gets to the point of it could be this summer because the man's feeling like he's not feeling the love, and if he doesn't feel like he's going to be a part of the plans going forward, then he wants to go elsewhere. Well, that's not a good place to be, is it? That's not a good vibe being put out there by the club, that we don't look after those that have really got us to, you know, a successful point. Certainly not the way the club has been run previously. So I think if nothing had come out around his contract and, you know, we'd heard that Hendo will be reviewed when he's 33, could leave on a free, you know, I think that would probably be something we'd go, okay, because I failed to grasp that the manager won't have told Hendo he's part of his plans. I'm absolutely 100% certain that Jurgen Klopp has Jordan Henderson as part of his plans moving forward. And again, we've all been told, or at least it's been widely reported, that Wijnaldum was part of the manager's plans moving forward as well, but for whatever reason, the money men, Gini didn't get his new deal, so it is what it is. Opinions on Phil Deeney next season. If you're talking about Nat Phillips, then that he'll probably be at Brighton by the looks of it, or somewhere else. if Hendo does leave, do I see Verge as the new captain? Yeah, that was the next conversation that I was going to get to, actually. So let's play worst case scenario here, and heaven forbid this doesn't happen, but if Jordan Henderson does move on, Milner is technically the vice captain. To me, I think realistically there's two contenders, Robbo and Van Dijk. That in my head would be the two that I would look at to lead the club. I would say 99.999% it would be Virgil van Dijk, but I do like the idea of your captain being someone with the spine of the team. So I know Robbo's a left back, but Robbo is a leader in different ways. But yeah, I would say 99% it would be Virgil van Dijk. I mean, yes, I would say that's pretty. Yeah, I'd say you're right on that one. Why don't we push for Hey Jude now, Craig? Because Luke, they simply won't sell him this summer, mate. So they're staring down the barrel of Jadon Sancho going. Not staring down the barrel. He's gone. He's a United player. That'll be announced soon. They could move on Julian Brandt. There's talk that they could be in with a fight to keep Haaland if Chelsea come in with an absolutely astronomical offer. So they don't want to lose Jude Bellingham this summer, and it's always been briefed that he'll be there for another year, and then maybe next summer. You joined That's Football, yeah. No, I have not done anything. No, not yet. I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you, mate, regarding that. But I did put out a tweet about it when I was in a shitty headspace, and that was just me being a dickhead, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't know where we are with that, but whatever, these things get resolved, or they don't, one way or the other. Craig, could I do a late night agenda on Wednesday? See if I'm any good. There's probably more chance of me showing up here with a perm than me handing over the channel to somebody who I've never even chatted with, mate. So, with all due respect, no. There's not a chance in hell that I'm sure you're a lovely person and all that, but I'm not giving the reins over to somebody who could be brilliant or could do a whole lot of damage. You get where I'm coming from? So, with all due respect, mate, send in the video to us if you want us to have a look and see if you're any good. If you are, we are looking to fill up some spots on the channel, so, but no to that one. John Bishop, no, mate, I'm not going that big. Jesus, no, not John Bishop. No question, just support for a fellow Red. Thank you, Jorgen Carlson. That's so kind of you. Really appreciate that. Wait, is Hendo leaving? Hopefully not. I mean, let's go around full circle. We'll finish the stream where we started it. The news that broke today was that there's a bit of a contract impasse around the Jordan Henderson situation. So he's got 2 years left in his current contract, and now is the time to negotiate for a new one, but apparently he's not feeling the love. And many journalists then followed that up with reports that he could potentially, if he doesn't feel that there's a way forward in this contract dispute, move this summer. And they went on to say that Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico Madrid are both monitoring the situation around Henderson and would be quite swift to come in and happily welcome him at those clubs if it couldn't be resolved at Liverpool, and it ended up with the club selling him this summer. That's where we are. Obviously all of us fans hope that FSG realise that they're being very, very stupid in this scenario, and that Jordan Henderson should be rewarded with a new contract, and we want it to be resolved. I mean, that's where we are right now, so hopefully it does get resolved. Have I seen the fake Nat Phillips on Twitter? Nope. Craig, I watch your stream. Every time I watch your stream, it makes me feel a lot better. Thank you, dude. Every time I stream, it makes me feel a lot happier as well, because I get to interact with you amazing boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, lads and lassies. Have I forgot anything there? Yeah, I was just making sure I hadn't left anybody out. And of course, those who are non-binary as well. Just everybody's welcome. Lots of love from us. Craig, how are you doing? I'm tickety-boo, Benji. Tickety-boo, my man. I'm fully refreshed after a few days off. Dest to Liverpool if Arnold goes to midfield position. He won't be, though. Trent's going to be staying at right back for the season ahead, so we won't be going for Dest. Somebody put the word L in. I don't take L's, Jordan. I don't even understand what that letter means, mate. I'm a dub merchant, so you can take your L, and I don't know, fuck it like a boomerang. I don't give a shit what you do with it, buddy, but I don't take L's, only W's, mate. We should be priority Salah or Hendo. Excuse me. Why or? Why should there be or? Why aren't they both a priority? So, if you're going to be scabby and not back the manager, well, the whole point of that was that you were going to tie down the stars to new deal. So, do it. We're already seeing one go bye-bye. We've yet to see any major contract renewals. I mean, we had Adrian, we had Kelleher, and we had Harvey Elliott and a few of the youngsters, but there's no Alisson, no Van Dijk, no Fabinho, no Mohamed Salah, no Jordan Henderson, no Sadio Mane. All these players that are running into the final 2 years of their contract. So, there you go. Thoughts on Millie's contract situation? He's got 1 year left and he'll move next summer. That's pretty much where we are with James Milner. Ideally, we'd all probably like Jimmy Milner to come back as a coach at some point as well, because, you know, he's got a lot left to give to the game, both as a leader of people and as a footballing brain, because it's Jimmy Milner, he's a legend. And yeah, I mean, James Milner should be able to do whatever James Milner wants to do next year, because I mean, what a signing he's been for us. But yeah, it looks like 1 more year and then James Milner will do whatever James Milner feels is best for the next stage in his life, which, you know, we'll all wish him nothing but the best and a huge thank you. Craig, who are we going to buy now? Well, the Saul situation really is an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's no surprise to me that the Barca part has fallen apart. Because, look, we know that, you know, we've Barca being linked with everybody, but they haven't got a shilling. There's more chance of me buying Saul at this point than Barcelona, because at least I have no money, but I'm not in debt. So, you know, I'm a little... Technically, we're all richer than Barcelona at this moment in time. So, you know, you can't always think that to yourself when you're going to bed tonight. Go, well, look, might be having a shit day, but I'm better off than Barcelona, which kind of true. So, what was the question? I went off one of my tangents again and completely forgot about where I was going with that. What was I talking about? I don't have waffle sometimes. Do you know what? I even confused myself. Oh yeah, who are we going to sign? So the Saul thing, it looks like the midfield situation is something that we're hanging off on right till the end of the window. And as I said at the start, when we'd originally been linked with Saul, we were thinking Gini Wijnaldum replacement, or Renato Sanchez, or Neuhaus, or whomever it might have been. Now I'm starting to get worried that, is it going to be a twofer? Like, are we going to be maybe replacing Jordan Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum with one player, which, again, would be just the height of stupidity. But, you know, we aren't at that point yet, so there's no point in me speculating really about it. Hi Craig, what the hell's going on with the owners? First of all, Genie, and now this. A lot of people won't understand that phrase that you've mentioned, David, but I get where you're going with it. Yeah, basically what you're saying is that they're going to end up turning even more fans against them, which I don't understand either, David, to be honest with you, mate. They're just, when you think the PR fuck-ups couldn't get any worse, fella, you know, hold my beer and here we go, because this should have been a summer where they were trying to make up for the joke around the Super League, that they were trying to make up for the trademarking or the copywriting of Liverpool in a football context, the furloughing of staff, all the other stuff that's piled up and up and up. And we all thought, well, maybe they've got something up their sleeve. Maybe there's going to be a super signing that none of us have thought about. And look, that could happen. But the briefing already is that 2022 is when FSG envisaged this main squad overhaul. But once bitten, twice shy, and I'm sick of hearing the phrase next summer or in the future. Now is the time to act. You've said you've offset some of the impact of the global pandemic with the sale of 10%, so you've said you've patched over it there, the own vibes that were put out there, the own briefings that were put out there. So, you know, how is it that every other club is able to go out and sign players and we're piss poor once again? And you know, for a club that likes to boast about record revenue streams and shirt sales and sponsorships with Nike, or kit manufacturer deals with Nike and fucking coconut water suppliers and all this other nonsense that none of us could really give a shite about. But yeah, every time it comes time to putting your hand in your pocket and ponying up the dough to back the manager, there's an excuse. FSG are like that mate that always goes to the toilet when it's their round. You know, we've all got one of them in our friend group, don't we? Somebody that, you know, will drop something under the table or walk away and come back and go, oh, I was going, yeah, you were going to though, were you? Were you really? We've all got one of them. That's what FSG seem like to me. And look, methods have worked well, but we are up against a different animal right now, because we've seen Chelsea dropping a serious amount of money recently over the course of the last year or so, back in their manager and back in the club and back in themselves. And there's talk of even more with Haaland. We've seen Manchester City, you know, God bless them, their 100 million offer for Harry Kane was turned down, and now they're crying poor mouth, but we know that they'll end up with a couple of players. United have got Sancho in, look like they're about to get Varane in, and yet we brought Canada in, which was great, but to me that's covering up last year's frailties, not looking ahead to the future. That's covering up the shit show from Dejan Lovren not being replaced. So it's always like we're playing catch up and being lied to, and it's frustrating because we've got a good squad, an amazing manager, fantastic coaches, and so many reasons why we should be looking to strengthen from a position of strength, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case as things stand, and it makes me very, very frustrated, and I'm sure a lot of you guys the same. I mean, I'm trying to think of ways to describe this without using bad language, but I've no trust left. I've got none, if I'm being honest with you. Zero trust in our owners anymore. And the PR announcements, they might as well just put them straight into the fucking bin, because I don't think anybody buys any of the shite that comes out of their mouths anymore. And, you know, we've got all these great people working at the club, and Michael Edwards and Jurgen Klopp and Dave Fallows and Pep Linders and so many other great people, nutritionists, medical team, so many great staff, great players, obviously amazing fans. And all that's needed is that last bit of backing for the manager. A manager who has proven with his recruitment staff time and time again that more often than not, they'll get the big decisions right. And look, nothing's guaranteed. Naby Keita probably hasn't been a success, but mostly they've got these big decisions right, and they've been reasonable amounts of money. And yet again, we're nickel and diamond when we should be going out there early doors, getting the manager 2 or 3 players that he needs, and sending them into pre-season with positive vibes after what was a very rough year for everybody concerned last year, with no fans inside stadiums, with the injuries that we had. It's just not the right vibe we want going into a new season, is it? So rather than, you know, uplifting the fans after the Super League fiasco, they're dragging us back down again. And I'm anxious, to say the least. Mohamed Salah situation, Hendo situation, the lack of transfer activity so far, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I don't want to be on here being angry, so I'm trying to keep reasonably calm. We're standing still while our rivals are going to be improving. Yeah, and do you know what's even worse about it? Like, we're standing still while, like, they're boasting about how great they are at bringing in new revenue streams and, you know, making the club more sustainable and tying in new commercial partners. And, you know, we're hearing all the bragging, but we're not seeing any of the fruits of this labour, if you get me. There's always an excuse: second highest wage bill, lots of money spent on agents, COVID, always an excuse. But then we'll get we have the capabilities to compete with any club. We want to be challenging with Manchester United, yada 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 yada. But yeah, where's the money, John? Where's the money? It's just, there is no excusing it anymore. Somebody will come and tell me I'm talking out my arse, and, you know, I respect everybody's opinion, but I'm entitled to mine as well. And I'm somebody that's been really patient around the owners, try to balance everything in my head and say, okay, for all the good stuff there's been some bad stuff, but they ain't the worst. But I'm sorry, right now it's put up or shut up, it's shit or get off the pot, it's full duck or no motherfucking dinner. It's one or the other. Back Klopp while you have him, or we're going to be in a whole world of trouble. That's all I can really say. They're extracting the urine, said Joanne. Exactly. They are taking the Michael. They are, yes. 100%. Like, what's the point in bringing Klopp in and having him for the time we have him and not backing him to the extent that Villa have backed their managers? And I'm not exaggerating here. You can look at the net spend in one of two ways. You can look at it that our net spend has been small because we've been clever. We've got a lot of money for incomings and or outgoings, excuse me, and we've been clever with incomings. So that's one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it is, okay, so we're clever, which is sound. We all love that we're clever, but shouldn't that leave us a bigger slice of the pie that we're able to give the manager to go out there and add even more quality because we're so clever? So we can't match Aston Villa for a net spend. We can't match Spurs. We can't match, well, maybe not Spurs actually. We can't match United. We can't match, who else? Look through the Premier. Everton have spent more than us. Manchester City have spent more on defenders, for Christ's sake. So to be able to process that information, when if it was me, I'd be like, I've got a manager who's a genius, a sporting director who's amazing at getting deals done, and other clubs are strengthening. Now is the time to act and just push ourselves even further along in our development and give this brilliant manager and this brilliant set of coaches that we have been waiting so many years to have the tools to actually do the job to the best of their ability with the best support that they can get. I don't really think that that's too much to ask. So yeah, I feel like horrible being here shitting on our own football club and moaning about stuff, but I gotta be honest, it's ridiculous, it's embarrassing, and it is against the ethos of everything that our club is supposed to stand for. And I don't care if people are going to tell me, look, you're not from Liverpool, you don't care, you don't know what the club stands for, you don't know. Fuck off is my answer. I've been a football fan and supporting this football club for over 30 years. I like to think I have a fair gauge on where the fan base is at and how we feel about the club. Would I take a punt on Ivan Toney? They won't sell Ivan Toney, mate. Again, Brentford are a club who are coming up and want to stay up. They're an ambitious club, so they've got that fantastic new stadium and they're going to want to keep Ivan Toney and add to what they have. So yeah, look, I'm going to go off into the night before I say something that's going to land me in a whole lot more trouble. But as I said, tomorrow watch-alongs of the Reds' first pre-season games. The 2 30-minute games will be starting probably 4:45 p.m. here on Anfield Agenda. We'll cover both of those games. We'll do a late night agenda tomorrow night. On Wednesday, I'm supposed to be in London, so there'll be a One Football News video going out. I hope you guys enjoy that one. And look, most importantly, let's hope that we wake up to some better news around Jordan Henderson tomorrow, because it isn't the news that we wanted to wake up and see today. But most importantly, love you guys so much. Thank you for all your support over my time off. I received loads of lovely messages and stuff, and it really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video.